Rachel Reeves has been caught with her pants down yet again. Maybe that's because they're on fire. So many alleged lies, you have to ask, is it time that she was given her marching orders? Well, if you believe what the internet and the media outlets are suggesting, her resignation is imminent. I'm not so sure. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello, and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that the older generation still matters, still has relevance, and that looks at issues that matter to the older generation. Now, before we get into this edition, in the last video I launched a mini competition for these two baseball caps, Grey Matters baseball caps. Two of our viewers can win one of these caps. We'll draw the winner at random on the 30th, so don't forget to be in it to win it. Just comment baseball cap in the comments. Now, secondly, I know our viewers come from all sides of the political spectrum, so I'd like just to reiterate that this isn't a right-wing channel, which is a common accusation. It's an older generation's channel, and we only talk politics when it affects them. We don't care who's in government, we only care about how they perform and how their policies affect the population and our generation in particular. And so far, this government has proven itself to be out of touch with the people, lacking in common sense, lacking in compassion for sure, and lacking in any form of fiscal professionalism. I think we can agree it's been a pretty turbulent time for the country and the government especially, and especially since the budget was announced. And I have to ask, where's the PM been? I mean, he's hardly been seen since he came to office, and especially since the budget. Instead of being here fighting for his policies and defending his beleaguered ministers, he's been abroad, trip after trip after trip. And okay, it's been a punishing schedule. Washington twice, Paris twice, Berlin 3 times, Samoa, New York, Brussels. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. 16 trips abroad he's had since coming to office. And for someone who's intent on ruining the UK with these ridiculous net zero targets, I wonder how he plans to offset the CO2 emissions from all those flights. I mean, he should have been here, really, shouldn't he? Steering his government through these, I suppose you call them stormy waters. Of course, this would be the last place you want to be, face the flak, especially with the farmers protesting. He looks like a coward who didn't want to be here to face the criticisms. And who did he leave behind to run things? Angela Rayner, who as a deputy has no credibility whatsoever in my opinion, and Rachel Reeves, who's in the middle of her own personal political crisis. Yes, so about Rachel Reeves, having said that, I'm pretty much convinced that she's the one pulling Starmer's strings. She might be a compulsive liar, probably a prerequisite actually to be an MP of any party, but she does have an air of a party leader, I think. But let's look at these alleged lies. Nothing in the Labour manifesto suggested tax rises that would affect most people. In fact, in interviews, we understood there would be no rises to income tax or NI. Take a look.
Rule out putting up income tax.
Well, I want, and Keir wants, taxes on working people to be lower. And we certainly won't be increasing income tax or national insurance if we win the election.
So that's a clear commitment. You will not increase income tax.
No, we won't increase income tax or national insurance. In fact, we oppose the increases.
Yeah. It appears, however, that they hid from us the multitude of tax raids they would apply elsewhere. Bear in mind that this is the party that pledged in the manifesto that they plan to create wealth and improve the living standards for working people. And that was followed by their plan to reduce inflation and encourage investment. But, judging by the businesses moving abroad and those foreign-owned businesses moving out, there doesn't seem to be much incentive to invest, does there? Inflation was expected to drop, but since her budget, the OBR has downgraded our growth prospects and is predicting higher inflation and interest rates. Yeah. Now, according to statistics, the UK's growth under Sunak was the highest in the G7 at 0.5%. But thanks to Reeves, it's now 0.1%. Her fiscal prowess speaking volumes there, isn't it? Right, here's another lie. Before the election, she was very clear in a couple of interviews that she would not increase NI for working people. Take a look.
Your manifesto says we will not increase national insurance, but you're looking at increasing employers' national insurance. Aren't you breaking your manifesto pledge with that?
Well, you've read our manifesto, and in black and white it said we will not increase taxes on working people, and that was national insurance, income tax and VAT.
And not employers?
That was not in the manifesto.
Well, that wasn't true either, was it? She might not be increasing NI directly, but the rise in employer NI will be passed down the chain, and if it costs more to keep an employee, then there's a good chance that employee will be laid off. So it will impact on working people, particularly with the small companies. And what does working person mean anyway? I mean, surely everyone with a job is a working person. Well, already small businesses such as hairdressers, nail bars and so on are rethinking staff levels. Many hair salons take on trainees, maybe up to a dozen a year, and those opportunities will reduce or disappear. Then another lie. Having promised no tax hikes, she announced in the budget £40 billion worth of tax rises.
This budget raises taxes by £40 billion.
Straight to the point. Another big lie was when she actually told the House of Commons she was an economist. And even the Treasury supported this lie and stated, Rachel has spent her professional career as an economist working for the Bank of England, the British Embassy in Washington and at Halifax Bank of Scotland. But it certainly seems that while she certainly worked in financial institutions, she was never a qualified economist. According to Wikipedia, as a youngster, she studied philosophy, politics and economics at the University of Oxford before obtaining a Masters of Science degree from the London School of Economics. Now, her first job was with the Bank of England from 2000 to 2006, during which time she held a trio of junior positions. She claims on LinkedIn that she worked for HBOS as an economist, but according to multiple sources, she worked for their retail arm. And when challenged about this, Reeves' team did not deny she did not work as an economist, but instead said she covered various areas using her economist background. There's a big difference there, isn't there? So it would seem she's embellished her CV, and embellishing CVs is arguably what many people do to improve their chances of getting a job. But when does an embellishment become an outright lie? For example, if under experience someone were to put, I managed a large team and was successful in creating an efficient and cohesive group that always worked well together, when actually they were a scout leader. Now, is that a lie, or just bigging up your volunteer role into something more meaningful for HR purposes? Well, is that different to calling yourself an economist when you never officially held the title? Yeah, I think it is, don't you? And the issue is that according to the ministerial codes of practice, ministers, MPs and so on must not lie. Now, difficult to comply with that, given that they all do, but the problem here is that she's been caught out. So should she be fired on that basis alone? I mean, there was a chief constable recently who was sacked because he'd lied on his CV. So why not a government minister? Well, rumours are now rife that she was due to be given her marching orders. And I hear cheering in the background there. But when a media outlet asked the Treasury if the rumours were true, the reply wasn't what they expected to hear. And normally the Treasury is quite forthright and they will tell you what you want to know. But what they got was this: you need to speak to her team about that. Observers claim that was very telling. Rather than confirm or deny the rumour, they passed the buck to her team. Asked again the next day, the reply was no comment. Again, unusual caginess from the Treasury, which kind of bodes well for her imminent departure. However, I don't know about you, but I doubt she'll go quietly. She's known for sticking to her guns, and let's face it, she's already refused to back down on the farmer's inheritance tax, despite being told by people who know that the tax won't just affect millionaire farmers. Just a couple of tractors, a combine, and the attachments they use can cost around £500,000. Add the farm buildings, livestock and the land and the home and all that to it as well, most farmers will cross that inheritance tax threshold. Now, I've spoken to a couple of local farmers and they both agree that farming is a massive financial gamble, where it's almost impossible to work out the odds in advance. Fertiliser, for example, costs around £50,000, and if there's too much rain or not enough rain, the crop would fail. And then that's £50,000 wasted, never to be recouped. But I reckon Starmer is very unlikely to sack her outright, because she'd lose her seat. And he knows she'll never be able to work again as an MP if that were to happen. And you don't do that to a crony, do you? But he could remove her from her post and reassign her after a few months maybe. Or, as I think is more likely, I think he'll cover up for her by simply announcing a cabinet reshuffle. I can't do an impression of him, but we've had our first 100 days and I'm going to make some changes to ensure this government works smarter. Well, God help us if she were to be put in charge of the Department of Work and Pensions. If she gets another ministerial role, it certainly shouldn't be a financial one. But wherever she goes within government, I suspect she will still have Starmer's ear and be pulling his strings. But for now, I think she needs a fire extinguisher on those pants before she burns them off completely with more lies. Well, that's it for this edition. Don't forget to give us your points of view on this. We enjoy reading them. Don't forget also to comment baseball cap if you want a chance of winning one of these 2 baseball caps. In the meantime, thanks for your comments, thanks for subscribing, and until the next time here on Grey Matters, it's bye for now.